the deal. You think NASCAR, you think Nextel Cup. Earnhardt, Johnson, Gordon. All Nextel Cup, all the time. Ever flipped on the TV to a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race? Do you have any idea? These guys are tough. 10 years tough. Ever heard of Bobby Hamilton?
Bobby Hamilton is a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion.
Musgrave?
Ted Musgrave.
Steve Park?
Musgrave.
Come on, answer me.
Side by side.
Skinner? Sprague? Hornaday? Those guys have owned this series. Don't forget Craven. I said Ricky Craven. No. Not Darlington. The Super Chips Ford man. That guy's looking for his first Truck Series win. Here we go again. Try racing the next 7 weekends in a row. Think that's tough? How about the next 11 out of 12? Takes the high side of the bank. Now, Hamilton, we're talking tough. We're talking back to the roots, baby. Pedal to the metal. We're talking bumping, beating, banging, long, hard summer. We're talking Dover. Next.
Welcome to Dover, Delaware. It's a historic day for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, race number 250. So 249 in the books for the Truck Series. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. Through 7 races, Ted Musgrave claims the top spot in the point standings, in the Ford point standings. Bobby Hamilton slides to second. Ricky Craven in the top 3, but has yet to find victory lane, as has Johnny Benson. Now, if either one of those two would be able to win, they would complete the trifecta, meaning they've won in Cup, Busch, and the Truck Series. But Ford and Toyota have yet to find victory lane this season.
Can finishing second or third be considered struggling for a manufacturer? In NASCAR, no championship driver has ever won the series title without winning at least one race. In 2005, Ford and Toyota have yet to find victory lane. It's been all Chevy and Dodge in the winner's circle. Ricky Craven's number 99 Super Chips Ford has come close, but not taken home a trophy. And Todd Bodine's Toyota grabbed a third at Daytona, but that's a far cry from his 2 trips to victory lane a year ago. The summer stretch starts in Dover, and Ford and Toyota need a win to mount a charge. And whenever I start thinking about who the next guy that has a really good shot at going to victory lane, I would normally say Ricky Craven, but you're way in the back because you crashed in practice and had to go to a backup. How tough is it going to be to work your way to the front?
Well, it's not going to be the easy way of doing things, but it's a good truck. A great team. They've done a great job for me all year, and we've just been a little bit off the last few weeks. So, you know, maybe it's something like this. You never know. I know that they do a great job preparing the Super Chips Fords, and I'm just going to have to pay attention here.
Okay, good luck going to the front. I think this is one of the guys that we would certainly think has a shot to get his first win, and that's a very long list.
The record for first-time winners in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is 7 in a single season. But already in 2005, we've had 3. Truck Series competition is at its best, and the list of who might be next is extensive. Many of these drivers already have top 5 finishes, and that's the first step to being a legitimate contender for a win. This week's race at the Monster Mile could add yet another driver to the fast-growing list of first-time winners. The list of drivers includes Johnny Benson. Johnny, you're coming off your season best finish from Charlotte 2 weeks ago, up 4th. Are you and the Toyota team, are you inching closer and closer to your first Truck Series win?
Well, we sure hope so. You know, Greg Ely and all the guys on this truck just do a tremendous job, and just, you know, won my first Busch race here, so that's a good thing. It felt really good in practice, so hopefully a Toyota certified used vehicles deal will get to the front. Just, it's going to be dark, I think, though. What do you think? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not going to try and forecast the weather. I hope it doesn't get too dark, folks. But remember, Johnny Benson's first Busch Series win came right here at Dover in 1994. Rick?
Thank you, Wendy. The teams are preparing to push the trucks out onto pit road. We're about to get underway. The drivers are heading across the stage, getting introduced to the fans in the stands today. Welcome back to Dover International Speedway for the Dover 200 on Speed Channel. In celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Truck Series, we present the toughest NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series moments. Made possible by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. Moment 18 is not a moment, but an accomplishment by Ultra Motorsports team owner Jim Smith, one of the original founders of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and the only owner to run a truck in every race since the series' inception. The owner of the number 1 and 2 trucks has won at least one race in every season. 8 different drivers and 2 manufacturers have helped Jim Smith find victory lane in the first 10 years and tied Jack Brown and his motorsports empire for all-time wins in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at 36. Mike Bliss, Jamie McMurray, Mike Wallace, Scott Riggs, Jason Leffler, Ted Musgrave, Jimmy Spencer, and Casey Kane have all helped this Truck Series pioneer find victory lane at least once every season. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series celebrating their 10th anniversary. This the 8th race of 25 of the 2005 season. Starting up front is David Starr. He's standing by with Ray.
And David Starr on the pole for the 4th time in his career. A little bit of a surprise the other day, but finally we actually get to go racing. What's your expectation for today?
Man, it's about time, Ray. I'm excited to go get my Chevy Silverado, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of rubber on the racetrack right now, and I think the guys that have the best handling trucks will be the guys that run up near the front. Hopefully, as the pit stops click off McCarty, I think the racetrack's going to tighten up a lot because there's a lot of rubber out there. And what I saw at the Busch race, a lot of people were real tight all day long, so looks like this thing's really going to tighten up.
Okay, good luck to you. Go get in that truck, and he's going to lead them off from the front.
Rookie Timothy Peters drives the number 4 truck for Bobby Hamilton Racing. He starts 4th today, and it's his 4th career start here at Dover. Timothy, being a rookie, this is the Monster Mile. What kind of advice have you been given by Bobby Hamilton, and has it been helpful?
It's been real helpful. I tell you, Bobby's awfully helped me out a lot today, and just watching the cars earlier today in the Busch practice, what line to take. We've been watching them down in the corners together. He's really helped me out a lot, and hopefully I can put our Bailey's Dodge up front.
All right, good luck today. Timothy Peters, in his 3 prior starts, has a best finish of 16th in St. Louis.
Getting ready to start the MBNA RacePoints 200. A lot of drivers anxious to hopefully continue the success at the Monster Mile.
White lines, hazard lights, and the warning signs. I want the rush of 100-mile-an-hour love.
Car Craftsman Truck Series MBNA RacePoints 200 on Speed Channel. Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons and Michael Waltrip. Now, we have had some incredible speeds here, Phil.
Well, there's a couple things I want to talk about, Rick. Number one, of the speeds. The pole position was 5 miles an hour faster than the old track record. 2 weeks ago at Lowe's Motor Speedway, we talked about how fast the trucks were. They were 3.5 miles an hour faster. This time a full 5 miles an hour. Another thing, though, the trucks are always the first event of the weekend. Because of the rain yesterday, they actually are running after the Busch race. So these fellows will be having conditions that are probably more like they would finish the race in years past. So the adjustments that the crew chiefs will make on pit road prior to this race are going to be very, very critical.
Well, Michael, with that rubber being down on the track, or more rubber being down on the track, will that be conducive for more lines of racing?
Definitely. There's 2 grooves out here. The problem is, Rick, when you get pinched down underneath another guy, it's hard to hold onto your truck. You might get a little bit sideways and wind up bumping into that other truck. Now, we heard Phil talk about the speeds. We said at Charlotte, it's fast. We're going to have a bunch of crashes, and we did. 5 mile an hour is faster here at Dover. That means these cats are going into these corners faster than they've ever gone in there before. It'll be action-packed, I promise. And
we've got a cloud cover over us right now, and so does that mean that we'll go even faster?
Well, it'll just be consistent. You know, when they say go, Phil said they were going to make some adjustments to these trucks. Those adjustments are going to be key to see who wins this race, because right now, the way the track is what you're going to get. There was just a 200-mile race on it for the Busch cars, so the track is what it is. The adjustments at the start here could be the key to victory.
Ominous clouds over the top of Dover International Speedway, but we're hoping that the rain will hold off. It slowed us down yesterday. As a matter of fact, it stopped us, and so we weren't able to run 24 hours ago, but it looks as though we're going to be able to get this race in. Again, 200 miles, 200 laps around the Monster Mile what some say is a self-cleaning track, meaning the banking is so steep that if you get in an accident, it will drop you right down to the inside of the track. And those of you that watched the Busch Series race earlier, that's exactly what happened. The cars slid right down to the inside wall. Well, let's get this one underway and go down for today's command.
And now to give the command, the Senior Vice President of MBNA, Mr. John Dickerson.
Drivers, start your engine.
The engines are fired up, and I know Kenny Schrader's fired up to get this one underway. Jimmy Spencer will be another one we'll be riding along with. There's been 5 different winners at Dover International Speedway, and that means that in the 5 races, we've never had a repeat winner. Could tonight be the first repeat winner at Dover International Speedway, or could we have a repeat winner? We'll find out when we come back. 1 mile concrete oval.
It's symmetrical, one end just like the other, and they drive a lot alike, Phil. A lot of times you go to a racetrack and the thing lays there and it looks exactly the same on both ends, and you take 2 totally different lines. But here at Dover, it's a lot the same.
This is kind of like a big Dover, a big Bristol, except it's twice as big. But here you see 36 trucks starting, 200 laps, 200 miles, first a little bit over $600,000. The pit window about 75 or 80 laps. NASCAR is actually going to evaluate this race and decide if they're going to give the teams a competition caution at about 25 laps. They will let the teams know 5 laps in advance of that.
Look at the Domino's starting grid. 4th career pole for David Starr. Terry Cook, his best start of 05, starting up front.
Race day special, 555.
Our most recent winner, Kyle Busch, starts on the inside of row number 3.
Kyle Busch just was involved in the Busch race and had a crash. And he did what I was talking about earlier. He was up under a guy, lost control of his car, and wrecked. So that is something he'll be considering as he races through the field here.
There's Bobby Hamilton, as you say, our defending champion.
Kelly's
second place in points this year. Kelly had a great run at Charlotte.
That's
finished
what I was
15th a couple weeks ago.
What a strong performance all night long. Spencer's going to the back, I hear, Phil.
Yeah, he missed the driver introduction, so he will have to go to the back of the pack. He was starting 29th, so doesn't have far to go.
He'll join trucks like Robert Presley, the number 59, who'll go to the back. 13, Tracy Hines goes to the back. There were 36 trucks that attempted to qualify for this race. All 36 make the field. We'll ride along with a few different trucks, one of them being the Team ASC Dodge of Jimmy Spencer. He'll start 29.
We're also going to ride along with Todd Bodine. He's a 3-time Busch winner here. There's Todd at Dover International Raceway. Always runs well here at Dover.
You'll have to contend with Todd Bodine before today's over, I guarantee you. Here's Schrader. He's starting back in the field 18th, and he didn't have a very long night at Charlotte the other couple weeks ago, Phil, so hopefully he can get back on track.
Jack Sprague's Chevy Silverado starts 12th.
As we mentioned a few moments ago, Kyle Busch won our most recent race at Lowe's Motor Speedway. He starts the Ditech.com Chevrolet in the 5th position.
Up front, David Starr, by winning today's race from the pole position, he can win $6,000 for his team. If David doesn't win from the pole today, then another $2,000 is again added to the prize money. That purse continues to grow in increments of $2,000 until somebody wins the award. Ray?
Hey, Rick, right here is the Good Wrench pit box, and you'll notice the owner, Kevin Harvick's right here, but you'll see there's an empty seat right here. Why is that? Well, crew chief Wally Rogers had to get on an airplane and go home yesterday because his wife Renee gave birth to their twin daughters. Now, that is Emma and Callie. So, Wally, who's going to take your job here tonight? Well, you got Harvick here, Todd Berry will be here. Up on the top, you've got Rick Corelli, and, of course, Hornaday is behind the wheel. So, boy, we got a lot of guys that might be calling the action here for the number 6 truck. Wendy?
Whoever thought Ray Dunlap would be talking about babies being born, and I would be talking about tires today. That could be an issue during the race today. These teams were given an extra set of tires by NASCAR because they thought the track was going to be green. Well, we've since run the Busch race. Now there's an extra set of tires to each of these teams. Guys like Bobby Hamilton did not even practice a whole lot because they wanted to save that set of tires. Well, chances are we may not have a lot of cautions, and that extra set of tires may not do us any good.
Happy 250th race, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We've had 19 different winners, or actually there are 19 different winners in this field, of which they compiled 139 total wins out of the 249 races we've run.
That is really incredible. Look at the 4 drivers at the bottom of your screen. They were in the very first race back in Phoenix in 1995, and between the 4 of them, 68 career wins.
That's like my brother and I. Between Daryl and I, we have close to 200, close to 100 wins.
That's pretty good, yeah.
He just happens to have 80.
A couple more than you do.
And I've got 4. So Schrader's proud to be in that group, I know.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
I think this is going to be an interesting start, Phil. Qualifying here at Dover, you have to have, there's a dude that won 3 Nextel Cup championships and 70-some races. Hey, bro.
Actually 84,
Is it?
but that's okay. I'll keep track.
If I can keep
It's
whittling
better
it
than we
down.
thought.
Your numbers get higher.
My percentage is looking better, but I was saying the start of this race is going to be interesting. You have to have a tight truck to qualify fast at Dover. We're running under 23 seconds in the 22-second bracket. You got to be able to lean on that thing. You have to have a free truck to be successful during a long run here at Dover. It'll be interesting to see who's hit both, who is able to qualify well and race well, or will Jimmy Spencer, some of these cats, Ricky Craven from the back, march through and get to the front.
These trucks did have practice on Thursday. They qualified on Thursday, and David Starr leads them to the green flag. We're racing at Dover, Delaware. Green line going into turn number 1. Ron Hornaday, Terry Cook splitting David Starr as they move their way through turn 2 and down the backstretch.
Remember, Ron Hornaday has been on this race already.
Steve Hart, Brandon Witt caught up in that as well.
The 12 of Robert Huffman.
The 65 of Regan Smith. Johnny Benson, the 23 truck.
Wow, what happened, Phil?
Boy, I don't know. They just, again, most of these drivers sat and watched the Busch race 200 miles.
This track is in great shape. There's no reason to have a crash on the first lap, or you can't blame it on the track. It had to be a mistake by a driver, or else somebody just got into another guy.
And that's so easy to happen here. You know, we started this race side by side. Let's take a look from up left. See what happened. We're going to exit turn 2 here.
Ooh, looks like Robert Huffman got into park.
Steve might have got pushed off the corner a little bit, maybe got out of the throttle. And when he did, Robert Huffman was dead in the throttle and bumped into him. Let's see if we can take another look at it.
Just looks like he's way up the hill instead of being a lane off of Steve. He's the 12 truck was way up the hill.
We talk about this racetrack being self-cleaning. You mentioned it, Rick. That's what we're talking about. The straightaways are banked so much here. That's why they go back down to the bottom of the racetrack and hit that inside wall.
A couple trucks on pit road right now. One of those being the 12, the other one being the 62.
Oh, there's a better tail of it, Phil.
Jack Sprague involved in that?
No, we said the 12 hit the park truck, but it didn't. The 62 truck looked like he got loose, and then Huffman. Oh,
there's a little bit of contact, and that started him getting loose.
Okay, yeah, he did get loose.
With every view, we get a little bit better action.
Was Schrader able to get through?
Runs in the back of Ted Musgrave.
Oh, great job.
He's going to have a little bit of damage to the front of his truck.
So you do get loose when you get run into. It looked like the 12 run into the 62 truck, right?
Hey, Mikey, extensive damage here on this Orleans Dodge. If you see the rear end, it has basically ripped the entire rear off it. The spoiler is completely jacked around. And you'll notice on the front also, the right front hit really, really hard. Left front wheel is towed in about 5.5 degrees. So this truck has extensive damage. I'm not sure he's going to be able to steer this thing at all. And on the rear side of the truck, the spoiler just set completely cockeyed. I got to believe they're going to have to go behind the wall.
Well, he he got run over on the first lap, Ray. That's about all you can. That's the only way you can call that one.
Johnny Benson's number 23 being pushed down pit road. He will make the hard left turn and into the garage. A very short day for Johnny Benson. On lap number 1, coming out of turn number 2, this takes place. Great announcement taking place last Thursday, the 26th. Craftsman has re-upped for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for another 5 years. A sponsor who's been involved with this series since its inception back in 1995, the Super Truck Series presented by Craftsman, and now it has evolved into the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. So a very big announcement for this series, which is continuing to be on the rise, and Craftsman on board for another 5 years. Terry Cook will lead us back to the green flag, and the guy who restarts better than anyone in NASCAR, the number 6 of Ron Hornaday, is all over his back bumper.
This has been a great 2 races in a row for Terry Cook. Had such a good run at Charlotte Lowe's Motor Speedway. Finished second, his best finish in a long time. And he came here with a great qualifying run, and here he is leading this race early on.
That was a heck of a start. He had to push Terry Cook down into turn 1. Terry said, I think if I can hold you off for a corner or two, maybe I can lead this thing. Puts a couple of truck links between he and Hornaday now.
You know, we've always talked about how good a restart Ron Hornaday gets, but these fellas have the same exact transmissions. We have trouble. Kelly Sutton. Fortunately, she missed the end of the pit wall. See the left front tire obviously flat. Right front tire is flat also. Caution flag is out.
And go slow, because you got plenty of time, and just come right into the pit area.
You don't get a chance to spin out at Dover and not hit something very often. She's going to have some damage, though. You heard her crew giving her good advice. Go slow. We can see something dragging under the truck. Those tires get to flop and feel. It'll tear that truck all to pieces before she can get back to the pit. Better off right now. Take her time. Go slow. Even if she loses a lap, she'll be in a position to get the free pass. It's not worth tearing your truck up over.
She's got at least 3 flat tires right now, so she needs to take it easy.
Kelly Sutton bringing out her second caution of the day. We'll be back with more racing from Dover. Going back high above the Dover International Speedway for the Dover 200 on Speed Channel. We're under caution number 2, and we have yet to complete 15 laps.
Ricky Craven, the 99 Super Chips Ford, was on pit road. We got a report that he was too fast leaving. He will have to restart from the end of the longest line. Wendy, what's going on on the pits?
Ricky Craven's been down pit road 3 times now. He came in that first time to get a fresh set of tires because he did check up on that first lap caution. Then he came back in. They were running a little hot, so they came back in, pulled some tape, and then they just came in a 3rd time and went up 2 rounds on the track bar since they're in the back anyways right now.
Now they're back in there again. Looks like they don't really know why he came in that time.
Yeah, we talked about Ricky crashing, cut a tire down in practice and crashed his primary truck. Mike Beam and all the guys worked extremely hard to get this backup truck ready, but he never had a lap on the racetrack. Wendy?
That was a speeding penalty for Ricky Craven on that 3rd time he came in. He did speed down pit road, so he had to pay that penalty back to NASCAR.
Coming out of Ford, it's Terry Cook out in front of Ron Hornaday, David Starr, Kyle Busch, Timothy Peters, and Mike Skinner.
You know Terry Cook looks in that mirror and says, hey, I've got Ron Hornaday, the best restart master in racing behind me. I better be on my toes. And look here, Ron Hornaday going for the lead on the outside.
Terry Cook has led every lap so far, but that could change as Ron Hornaday jumps in front of him coming out of Ford. He'll go across the start-finish line in front. Now Ron Hornaday, our newest leader.
Ron came here this weekend thinking he was only going to run the truck race, but ended up driving the car that Shane Meal was scheduled to drive in the Busch race because Shane Meal was suspended by NASCAR. Ron drove that car. Unfortunately, got in some trouble, got in an accident, but he's got a great truck.
Side-by-side racing. Dennis Setzer on the inside of Matt Crafton. Crafton, as of recently, having some pretty good runs.
Man, I got to tell you, Phil, it's all you can do to get around this track on your own. I mean, you're going so fast, and it's such a roller coaster. You can see these things jumping down into the corner and up off the corner. It's full court press to get a truck around here on your own. And then you get going sideways. Timothy Peters had never been down there before. He's like, man, I got a little loose, but I think I can still get him. That's when you get in trouble, when you go somewhere you hadn't been before.
Clear.
We saw that very same thing happen to Kyle Busch, who we're looking out of his onboard right now. He was on the inside of Kevin Harvick in the Busch race earlier today. Got loose, made contact with Harvick. They both ended up crashing out. Harvick was able to finish. Kyle Busch was knocked out for the race. Ray?
Hey guys, Kyle Busch came to Ron Hornaday right before this race started, and he said, I sure hope that Kevin Harvick didn't tell you to wreck me in this race. And Hornaday said, what are you talking about? He said, well, Hornaday, you're the driver for the guy that I got in the wreck with. He says, dude, you got to get in front of me before I'm going to be able to wreck you, and that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, a little bit of confidence there out of Mr. Hornaday.
You can see Peters there just using up every inch of the racetrack. I think Kyle Busch was a little bit out of whack with his comments after that race. He said that Harvick pinched him down and caused him to spin into Harvick. That's certainly not the case. Harvick was just running around the track. Kyle got sideways under him and wrecked both those trucks.
It looked like Tony was giving him plenty of room, and they made contact. Here's Tony Stewart right here, currently being shown in the 8th position.
Moving up from 11th where he started. Tony Stewart running at Lowe's 2 weeks ago had some problems. They thought it was a vapor lock, is what Randy Goss, his crew chief, had mentioned. And so they're hoping that that is fixed and they don't have that problem today.
That truck is fast every week. I drove it a year ago and it was fast, and Bobby Labonte won with it. Tony was all over it in Charlotte.
There's Kyle Busch right there. Remember, we talked a few moments ago about how he and Kevin Harvick got involved in an accident. Let's see if we can take a look back at that. Again, this happened earlier today. You see the 57, Kyle Busch is on the inside of Kevin Harvick. He got loose. They made contact. He forced Kevin up into the wall. And here they end up over in turn number 2 with a lot of damage to both of those cars.
It's certainly nothing Harvick did wrong there. It just was a deal where it's hard to race underneath a guy. Kyle got a little bit sideways and wrecked them both.
Kyle, our most recent winner in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He won that race back in Lowe's.
We saw a little glimpse of Kevin Harvick on top of the pit box for Ron Hornaday, and that was Todd Berry, his Nextel Cup crew chief, with him. So Kevin has a little bit of help up there with him. Todd Berry, who's won a lot of truck races with Mike Skinner in the first 2 years.
Here's 20th and 21st. Todd Cleaver just in front of Jimmy Spencer in that Team ASE Dodge.
You know, Spencer started in the back for missing driver introduction, and he's not made a huge move through the field. He's just tiptoeing along there in 20th spot.
There's Todd Cleaver right in front of him. This is Todd's first time ever hit trip to Dover. And I was talking to Todd at length yesterday, and he said, hey, I told John Monson, my crew chief, I think we have a pretty good truck, but I've seen so many guys get into trouble at this racetrack. Let me just take my time. I know I'm not going to qualify probably as well as I should, but let me just take my time, get in the field, and let me learn as we go. What a perfect attitude to have coming to Dover for the first time.
Patience is the key there, and we haven't seen patience as of yet, having our first caution on lap 1.
You just run right up against the chip, Rick. It's as hard as you can go at Dover, and if you don't breathe off of it just a nick, then you'll find yourself in trouble.
Out in front, Ron Hornaday, second leader of this race. Terry Cook behind him, David Starr and Kyle Busch. Rounding out the top 5 with Timothy Peters. Channel the Star Mazda Series from Mid-Ohio. With 2 wins under his belt, Rafael Matos prepares for round 3 and has his sights set for win number 3. Mazda Series from Mid-Ohio, Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific, only on Speed Channel. Here comes Bobby Hamilton. Bobby Hamilton started back in 20th position. Not a great qualifying effort for him, but he's making his way through the field.
All 3 of these trucks, the 17 of David Rudiman, the 66 of Todd Bodine, and Bobby Hamilton just passed Ted Musgrave on the last lap. Ted is backing up. He had one of the best trucks in practice. Gene Neat, his crew chief, thought they had the best truck, but unfortunately right now he's backing up.
You can see Todd Bodine here creeping up the hill, Phil, looking out over the racetrack. A lot of guys are beginning to run a little bit higher. Our winner from a year ago, Chad Chapman, is running the highest line of anyone. We've seen Bobby Hamilton run both upstairs and down. It looks like this track is truly widening out for these cats in these trucks.
Let me pose this question to you, because we have had a race before this. There's a lot of rubber on the track. They were not expecting that, because when they qualified, they thought they would be the first race on the track. So their trucks, after they were impounded, they couldn't work on them.
It always takes a little bit of time at Dover to get the groove moved up. You've got to, everybody here in practice runs right on the bottom of the racetrack. But as the race goes on, and you have trucks lapping other trucks, then you get some rubber down in the outside groove, then you can run side by side. But prior to that, everybody runs right on the bottom of the racetrack, as we see Jack Sprague take over looks like the 5th position from, the 6th position from Timothy Peters. But as you mentioned, Michael, it looks like the groove is really widening out, and these trucks are going to be able to run side by side. Not easily, but they can run side by side.
There's all kinds of options out there right now. Musgrave has driven all over the 17, gets a little bit loose, then here comes the 77 around. Watch the 77 where he goes. Rudiman's dedicated to the bottom. The 2 trucks behind him are running in the middle to the upper lanes of the racetrack. That's what's fun about Dover. It's so fast that it's tense, but then once you're on a half a fuel load or half a pit stop, you begin to get comfortable with moving around on the speedway zone.
Michael, remember, we broke the track record by 5 miles an hour. I don't ever remember an increase like that in the last last 20 years that we saw speeds go up 5 miles an hour unless you repave the racetrack. Now, I asked all the crew chiefs and drivers why the big increase. Goodyear brought a little bit softer left side tire. Most of the, I think, credit goes to that. They also have side skirts on these trucks now. That gives them a little bit more downforce. And most of the crew chiefs said, hey, everybody's just getting better. They're learning more about these trucks, the teams, the horsepower, a lot of things contributing, but the left side tire, a little bit softer, has a lot to do with it.
How do you slow a truck down? You know, everybody talks about we need to make the cars, the Cup cars, less aerodynamical, make them boxier so they go slow. These cats come here in a truck that doesn't get any boxier than that, and they run down into 22-second brackets. So it's a challenge trying to figure out how to get these racing machines in NASCAR these days to slow down to a speed that people think the racing would be better at. Who knows what's going to happen?
And a lot of people, when they ask about the Truck Series, they say, now, how do they run compared to the Busch Series or the Cup Series? Well, actually, they qualified faster than the Busch Series and the Cup Series as far as their qualifying runs, but then the Cup Series came back out and ran faster in their practice.
Well, there wasn't any Busch qualifying or Cup qualifying here. When you get down to just qualifying, these cats will turn it on and go faster. But that just shows you, these trucks are probably going through the corners faster than cars. They got more downforce on the back because of the big spoiler. They can't go down the straightaway as fast as a car because they're so boxy. So they're making up their time in the corners, and that just shows you the premium on handling here at Dover.
Remember, these trucks have probably a crash. Got trouble.
Kelly Sutton again coming out of turn number 4, has problems, gets to the inside wall, and our third caution of the day comes out. And so we may see some pit stops out of trucks we haven't seen on pit road. We'll tell you about it when we come back. And welcome back to the Dover 200 on Speed Channel. And here they come. Ron Hornaday leading the field down pit road. Wendy?
The five truck of Mike Skinner comes to a stop as the crew goes to work on the right-hand side. He thinks his truck has been a little tight, so they're going to make the track bar adjustment, go down, and also put a turn in the left rear. Pretty routine stop, it looks like. A little slow on the left front. Let's check in with Ray.
Well, Wendy, everybody on my end is certainly tight on this racetrack. They got 4 tires on and off of Ron Hornaday's Goodwrench Chevy in great time. Hornaday will be the first one off pit road. Terry Cook will follow him down, but everybody very tight. So most everybody making air pressure adjustments, and quite a few people trying to raise the track bar. That'll help loosen these trucks up, but they know that this track is going to get tighter and tighter as we run.
Travis Quapple able to climb out of his truck, the champion of the 2003 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, holding up the trophy, and we are now joined by that man, Travis Quapple, now driving the Kodak Racing number 77. And Travis, welcome up to the booth. You've driven here in a truck at Dover, and so far we've seen a little bit of a wreck fest going on. Were you expecting something like that?
Well, not really. I mean, I guess if there's a place you can do it, Dover is a one. It's easy to get caught up in. I was surprised the first lap of racing, guys got carried away and had a big wreck off turn 2. That's unfortunate. Some good trucks got tore up right there, but hopefully we can get some good green flag racing in and see how this all shakes out.
What do you think about the Nextel Cup Series? This is your first year, obviously full year in the Nextel Cup Series. What is your thoughts so far?
Well, it's definitely hard. I mean, I knew that going in, and I knew it would take a lot of hard work and a lot of team effort. But it's definitely a little harder than I thought. But I feel like a 77 Kodak team's turned in the corner, and I'm ready to have some good runs. We had a great car last week at Charlotte, and the driver screwed up.
And we're back to the restart. It's Ron Hornaday coming to the green flag. He will lead David Starr, as well as Terry Cook, Kyle Busch, and Jack Sprague across the start-finish line.
We saw the 2 previous restarts with Ron Hornaday all over Terry Cook. Ron Hornaday restarts from the front and gains about 4 or 5 truck lengths. Now David Starr in trouble.
Oh, he's into the inside wall. Brushes the inside wall, and the caution will come out again.
Looked like he got a little bit loose on the bottom of the racetrack. He was on the bottom. Terry Cook was on the outside. David got loose. Didn't spin, but unfortunately made some pretty significant contact to the inside wall.
I don't know how significant. He might have just run through water. It looked like a big crash. Now he
Got a little fender damage there. Shouldn't hurt him too bad. They'll be able to get that pulled back out. And definitely aero is pretty important here. I noticed that in my cup car earlier today. You could get pretty tight, be up behind somebody, so I'll have to get that fixed up for him.
He got me pretty. He hit me up on the right rear, got me loose, and we hit the inside wall. It doesn't feel that bad.
Wow.
We just heard him say he got me loose. We've seen that before. A truck on the inside normally loses the air off the spoiler.
Well, you could see he pushed. He was pushing up the hill, but he elected not to come out of the gas. He's pushing, he's pushing, he's pushing. They make contact, boom, I'm sideways. So that was a case where maybe he could have rolled off the gas a little bit and not gotten such an aero-tight situation that resulted in him turning sideways and hitting the inside wall.
Another view from Jack Sprague's on board. See David make a little bit of contact on the inside wall.
And Michael, you mentioned water. We've had so much rain here over the past day and a half. There probably was a puddle down there that he actually ended up hitting, right?
Well, guys, David Stark talked with Dave McCarty, his crew chief, and he said, what do you think? He said, it doesn't feel like it's rubbing too bad. And McCarty said, we can't take the chance. We've got to come down here, pull those tires off. We'll re-glue them and have them ready to go again, but we need to make sure the fenders are okay. Here's this Spears Chevrolet that was on the pole, and you can see a good bit of damage on the left side. It didn't appear that it was rubbing on the tires, but you just can't take that chance. So the guys will go to work here, put 4 tires on it. They'll have those tires to reuse later in the race if they need to, but they got to get those fenders pulled out a bit, and he'll go back to the racetrack. But it was a call they had to make. They needed to check it over because it could have gotten a lot worse if they cut a tire.
Hey, Ray, you might go ahead and tell those guys, too. He hit a lot harder than it looked like at first. I'm afraid that it's not all going to be okay with just some fender pulling and some tires on it. That was a pretty significant bounce off the inside wall.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get in there and bend a tie rod or a ball joint or something like that. They need to put the strings on that, make sure that all 4 tires are heading the right direction there for him.
And what will be a good indicator for him is where his steering wheel is. If his steering wheel is in the same position it was prior to hitting the wall, then maybe he got lucky. But more than likely, his steering wheel was probably off a couple clicks, and then he's probably got some toe-in damage.
Yeah, I'm sure David will know that right away, and hopefully he's all right because he's got a fast truck, that's for sure.
Through 45 laps, we've got Ron Hornaday, Terry Cook, Kyle Busch, Jack Sprague, and Mike Skinner in the top 5. Timothy Peters, Bill Lester, Tony Stewart, Bobby Hamilton, and David Rudiman round out our top 10.
That Hornaday got him a nice little start.
Yes,
Were you surprised at all?
He's had a couple nights.
Yeah.
And I watched the striped line on the wall where you're supposed to start in the vicinity of, and he was well past that.
Remember, he got too good a start a few races ago.
And the word in the vicinity of, actually, I don't believe NASCAR even says that anymore. As I talk to some of the NASCAR officials, they say, we don't say in the vicinity of. It's at that point that's on the wall. The 2 lines that are on the wall, that is where the leader of the race can start.
That's going to help me tomorrow. Hopefully I'm leading and I'll have to deal with that. What about Hamilton?
Wendy.
The Monster Mile may eat up some of these rookies, but it's not for Bobby Hamilton. He started 20th. He's up to 9th. He's had a good day so far in the short amount of race we've had. He did come in on lap 38 and took scuffed tires, so he does have 2 sets of stickers left.
Back to green flag racing. Ron Hornaday leads him across the start-finish line again, and he will pull away from Terry Cook, but not so much this time.
Good start for Terry Cook. As a race car driver, you hate to admit someone's better than you are at something, but
at anything.
And Hornaday seems to make you almost have to admit that at times.
Look at Kyle Busch coming up behind Terry Cook now, battling for the 2nd spot. Side by side, Bill Lester on the outside of Tony Stewart, and now Bobby Hamilton will make the move and try to get by Bill Lester.
That's a battle for the 7th position. Tony takes over 7th, Bobby takes over 8th, Bill back to 9th. What a great run by Bill Lester 2 weeks ago at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Career best of 6th. What a terrific job by Bill Lester and that Toyota team.
And he's continuing today. He's been solid top 10 all day long, running a great race right now.
Toyota looking for their first win of the season. Bill Lester looking for his first career win.
What about that truck of Terry Cook? Man, he is flying and closing right back up on Hornaday, and like they flipped the switch, Phil. Like you said, all of a sudden, boom, that's a fast truck, one of the fastest trucks on the track.
That was a brand new truck at Lowe's Motor Speedway 2 weeks ago. The first truck that they had actually built the way they wanted to. It ran well the entire time, got a great 2nd place finish. They brought the exact same truck here, qualified 2nd, right now running second. Ray, what's going on down there?
Hey, Terry Cook said on the radio that he was almost into the outside wall on that deal when David Starr got into the inside wall. He said it was very, very close. He just about lost it. Now realize Cook has run on all 5 previous races here with a best finish of 10th, but believe it or not, before today, he had never led a lap at Dover.
Terry Cook was able to be out in front of 13 laps. And the other leader today has been Ron Hornaday, 37 laps led for him.
This is a gaggle.
Brendan Gaughan looks like he's got a pretty good truck here. Brendan struggled a bit this year, got a good top 10 run at Lowe's Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago for his best finish of the year, but he looks pretty racy today.
Yeah, anybody knows I watched Brendan race in the past. He ain't afraid of going around the outside. He just made a nice pass there on the outside in that Jasper engine truck.
Todd Bodine made a pass. He was able to move up to 11th position. So that Toyota moving up toward the front of the field.
Closing in on the back of David Rudeman now, and you can see Todd's not down on the bottom of the racetrack. He slipped up in the middle and the center of the corner. They call that diamonding the corner, Phil. A guy will go in on the bottom, slide up in the middle, and then angle it back off, leaving a turn. Here he is higher than Rudeman. Watch him switch lanes. He'll go down to the bottom now and try to cut under Rudeman.
And you hear him playing with the throttle. This is the type of racetrack that you're going so fast through the center of the corner, you may have to back off a little bit off the corner like you do at Darlington off of turn number 2 in order to not to push too much at the very exit of the corner. But that's why a rookie driver has a tough time here, because he doesn't realize that he's going to be in trouble off the corner as early as it actually starts. It starts back in the middle. He doesn't realize.
He's in trouble before he even knows it.
That's right.
We just saw David Rudeman move to the inside, let Todd Bodine go to the outside. That may be from that lesson he learned from his owner, which he said, don't beat yourself. Todd Cleaver moving up.
Yeah, Todd's had a good run so far. Moments ago, though, he came off the corner and got ever so close to the wall. Might even have touched the wall. Watch here. We're going to look at on the right side of your screen here. Again, he's pushing a little bit here. He doesn't quite realize it yet, and he's going to make so slight contact. If you can make contact with the wall here in Dover, and that's all you do, you're pretty lucky.
He'll be in good shape there, I think. Talked with John Monson, his crew chief, and he's really impressed with Todd as a rookie driver. Todd's up there from Wisconsin, ran the same short track as I did up there in the Midwest, and so he's doing a really good job, gives him great feedback, so it won't take long. Todd will be up front here.
That might have been one of those examples where he was in trouble before he ever even knew it. You know, he will probably know next time he couldn't get on the gas as hard as he did back in the center of the corner, or he'll run out of room.
You just back off a little bit, pedal on that throttle a little bit, get the truck turned a little more, and try to drive straighter up the corner. It's really hard to turn these trucks late off the corner on the throttle.
Well, you're in the gas so early here. I mean, you don't hardly even get into the corner. You barely even get the car settled down in, and you want to be back wide open on the gas. It's really hard to keep the car turning here.
Was this a pretty difficult racetrack for you, Travis, coming here? I remember your first year in the Truck Series. You ran well everywhere. Did you have a little more trouble here than some other places?
Yeah, it was. I didn't have a very good run that day. I remember, scratching my head, not knowing what our problem was. Looking back on it, going back a second time, a lot of it was me, in learning how to drive this racetrack. And it's definitely a place where a driver can move around, do some things different in the race car to make up for different handling conditions.
And as we're talking about Todd Cleaver and that number 50, we've just heard that NASCAR has called not only the driver and the crew chief, but the spotter to the hauler after the race for blocking the free pass vehicle on that last restart. And so weren't able to get around in time, and so he was trying to pass the free pass recipient. Could not get around Todd Cleaver, and so they're calling them in to probably talk about that.
That's all just being aware of what's going on. You have to understand all the time exactly what's happening on the racetrack. Right now, you're under caution, but you got to be busy. Make sure you stay out of the way.
Jack Sprague way out of contention here. He's been sliding all over the track. He looks extremely loose right now as we look back from Kyle Busch's truck.
Yeah, I wonder about Jack Sprague maybe having a soft tire, because he had a couple big wiggles the last 2 corners he went through.
He's still on the gas, though. He hadn't gotten too far off the back of that Kyle Busch truck. It looks like you said he's having to correct that truck, turn it to the right in the corners, but he's laying with it.
Maybe the 50 there had a little more damage than we thought.
After 61 laps, Ron Hornaday out in front. Terry Cook, Kyle Busch, Jack Sprague, and Mike Skinner. Ron Hornaday would like to win his second race of 2005 in Dover. Our aerial coverage is courtesy of Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and its fleet of airships, reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear's new Assurance tires. I want to thank the Goodyear crew, staying high above Dover, Delaware, the Dover International Speedway.
Mike Skinner had such a good run going at Lowe's Motor Speedway. A couple of weeks ago, he was leading the race. You see him get a little bit loose coming up there at number 4, but he was leading the race, probably inside of about 50 laps to go, and made some contact with a lap truck, and unfortunately ruined his day.
Because of the intense speed here, Phil, everything is magnified. You know, if you get to pushing a little bit, you're going so fast, it pushes into the wall before you know what happened. You come off the corner, you get just a little bit sideways, you react. You throw a wheel to it and say, oh, shoot, I can't get sideways here. And so everything is multiplied here at Dover. Top 09 is a cat when the show started. We said you might have to go through him to get to victory lane. He is moving up.
Todd is so good at this racetrack. His first Busch win ever was here at Dover, and he won twice more after that. 3 total Busch wins here at Dover. Gets hung in behind the 13 truck of Tracy Hines. Stays right with Timothy Peters.
Now Todd Bodine moving to the inside. He'll try to make the pass on Timothy Peters and doesn't.
He's up to 6 in that Toyota.
Todd had a great third-place run earlier this year at Daytona. The best Toyota finish this year, I think. Is that right?
And Travis, you were the first driver to win in a Toyota for that manufacturer when it came in. How was that as far as being able to take them to victory lane for the first time?
Well, that was definitely something I was shooting for really hard all year last year to get that win. I thought Mike Skinner was going to get it right away at Atlanta, the second race of the year. So it's a huge accomplishment. I feel pretty proud that I was able to do that. It's something I can always have next to my name, and Toyota can always have my name next to theirs.
Travis Quaffle joining us up here in the booth, now driving the Kodak Racing number 77. And we want to wish you good luck in tomorrow's race, and hopefully everything goes well for you at Dover.
I hope so, too. Thanks for having me, guys. It's a lot of fun up here. Looking forward to doing it again.
Appreciate it.
You can see Hornaday there. He's breathing down the cat's throat that won the race here a year ago. Chaffin got the win here a year ago, and here comes Hornaday. Put him a lap down. Hornaday is consistently just driving away from these cats.
He really is. We watch the lap times here, and very, very often the fastest truck on the racetrack, even with a little bit of traffic. That's another guy right there that's been running awfully well, is Brendan Gaughan on the outside, but it looks like Ricky Craven, the 99 truck, has been able to pass him, as Dennis Setzer is right now.
Dennis Setzer trying to get by the 77. Now, Tony Liberati, Rambo came on board full-time now with Brendan Gaughan, and since he's been on board, Brendan Gaughan's been running a lot better. Hornaday continuing to put trucks a lap down. The most recent to go a lap down is Chad Chapin in that Toyota number 30. The next in line would be the number 75 of David Starr. Now, David Starr started on the pole for this race, but had a problem, got into the inside wall on the back stretch, and that has relegated him back to a 20th place. Wendy?
Bobby Hamilton is in the 9th spot, and his driver, Timothy Peters, the rookie, is in 8th. Now, Bobby Hamilton, of course, has come much further up in the field since he started 20th and Timothy Peters started 4th. But you should hear the conversation. It sounds like a typical rookie-veteran conversation on the radio. Timothy Peters said, I've been sitting around 2 days, guys, so I was following the pace truck, and on that last restart, a little bit of a rookie mistake, he spun the tires. And then you have our veteran, Bobby Hamilton, his truck owner, that is giving his feedback. So I'm sure Timothy Peters is going to learn a lesson after this day at the Monster Mile.
Laughing by the 2 truck of Jimmy Spencer. I tell you, that truck's been good all year long, well into the top 10 in points, and he's already been lapped and now getting passed by a lot of other trucks.
He missed the setup, as did his teammate. Musgrave doesn't have anything going on today either. That truck is struggling as well.
Yeah, he's not far from being a lap down. Another guy that's so good here, Rick Crawford.
Coming hard. Clear behind the 46.
He is just ahead of our leader.
Being shown in the 18th position, Rick Crawford always runs well here. He's got 4 top 10s out of the 5 races.
One gentleman we haven't talked a lot about, we mentioned Rick Crawford and his good runs here. He's run every race, or all 5 of them. He started in the 21st position, currently being shown in 18th, somewhat mid-pack. And we'll find out what's going on with Rick Crawford. Wendy?
Rick Crawford is deep in the field, and one of those reasons is he had a little bit of trouble at the start of the race. His mirror fell off his truck, and we know how difficult it can be when you can't see around this place. Even though there's spotters, those suspension on lap 38, and they did fix the mirror on Rick Crawford's truck.
Take a look at Ricky Craven here.
He went to the outside of Ruderman. He's just been marching through the field, Rick. He's up in the 11th spot now. That's Bill Lester just ahead of him. We talked about Bill. He's just on his game. A good, solid 6th place finish last week at Lowe's, and now here he is, top 10 all night tonight. Tony Stewart's another cat that's running in the top 5. He's having a strong run. It's just fun to see these different lines, Phil, on this long run that we're experiencing right now. Ricky Craven up high. Spencer's brought his truck to pit road. It was handling so bad. The two had a bit of a flat tire, I think, one going soft on him. But look at Tony Stewart right down to the bottom of the track. They're all over the place.
And Tony Stewart knows how to run around this track. In the 12 starts, or 11 starts that he's been here in the Cup Series, he's finished he's finished in the top 10 11 times. So an amazing statistical race, or statistics for this racetrack for Tony Stewart.
And Tony is so good here. He's won a couple times. Again, you know he's going to be running up front each and every time he comes to this racetrack. Got a gaggle of trucks right here. There's Dennis Setzer, the 46 truck. Looked like he got hung up behind the 08.
David Ruderman moving past Dennis Setzer. Setzer had gotten by David Ruderman, and now Ruderman back in front of Setzer.
I like that word gaggle, and that's about the only way to describe what was going on over there off two. By the time the camera got to it and showed it, it didn't look like it gaggled as much.
It was a lot gaggled up prior to that, wasn't it?
Much gagglier.
Really impressed with Ricky Craven, though, and Mike Bing. I talked to Mike Bing at length yesterday. They were working on their truck while it was raining. NASCAR allowed them to work on this truck because it was a backup. I said, hey, how do you like the truck series after spending so much time in the Nextel Cup Series? He said, I really like it a lot, and I'm really going to like it a lot better once I feel like I get a handle on it. They've been very good this year. They're in the top 5 in points, but he said, I really don't feel like I know what I'm doing yet. I don't know exactly what these trucks want all the time. Once I get a little bit more of experience with them, I think we'll be better, and I'll enjoy it a whole lot more.
The last 2 races, though, have been impressive for them. They missed the setup when the race started at Lowe's, worked on it, got a top 10 out of it. Same thing here. They started in the back, they worked on their truck earlier, and now they're racing to the top 10.
Ron Hornaday out in front. We're getting close to the halfway point for the Dover 200 on Speed Channel. Monday night, it's a special encore presentation of Wind Tunnel with 4-time Nextel Cup champ Jeff Gordon. Jeff joins Dave as co-host for the night, jumping head first into the middle of the Wind Tunnel storm. Don't miss a minute of the action on Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain and co-host Jeff Gordon. We just passed the halfway point. Ray, when are these guys going to come in for green flag pit stop?
Well, Rick, they can go to about 128, 130, right around there. Their first pit stop was at lap 38. You figure 86, 87 laps, something like that. So they're looking at maybe 125 at the earliest, 130 right in that window. And that's when we expect them to come to pit road. We've just passed 102 laps here, so it's coming up.
There's our new second place truck right there. Jack Sprague a few moments ago drove by the 15 truck of Kyle Busch. Jack has a great truck right now. Talked to Dave Fuge, his crew chief and owner, actually his owner, Chris Showalter is the crew chief, and he said, hey, Jack thinks we're pretty good. I'm not too sure, but Jack said he likes the way the truck drives, and obviously Jack was right.
Something that's going to could play an issue now, Phil, is we've run long enough on these tires that if you don't have your right front camber set right, you could blow out a right front tire. You know, that's the critical part of the truck. How long of an A-frame to run on the right front? How much to tilt that right front tire in to take advantage of gripping in the turns? You tip it in too much, you burn up your tire, it'll blow out after a long run. So these guys are tiptoeing right now, wondering how the camber's set, what this long run is going to do to their tires.
And this is probably the longest run we've seen today. The Busch Series, I don't think, had a run during their race that was probably as long as what we've seen right now. So this is going to be a good indicator of how these tires are going to be wearing for these teams and for the Nextel Cup race tomorrow.
Ron Hornaday up in front. He hasn't really been contested by anyone from behind him, but just recently he almost had a problem with debris on the track.
See, Ron, that's the black truck on the inside is Ron. So a little debris come off the 22 truck of Bill Lester. Looks like it hit the very front of Ron Hornaday's truck. Unfortunately, that will not do any damage. It looked like maybe a piece of aluminum or something like that. So it may have scuffed up the windshield a little bit, but other than that, be no damage.
Bill, remember when you did this last week?
You actually did the cyclone. I did the rain, yesterday because it was raining.
They've introduced us to technology, Rick.
Thank you for introducing us. Ron Hornaday trying to hold off Ted Musgrave. Now, the reason Musgrave is running so well is he just recently came in, put 4 new fresh tires on there. Ron Hornaday's been out there for quite a few laps, and so his tires are going away a little bit.
Yeah, and the fact that Ted Musgrave is not able to pass Ron Hornaday with fresh tires shows you how well Ron Hornaday is right now. He's racing here, trying to hold Ted Musgrave behind him, and he still has over a 3-second lead on Jack Sprague right now.
One person who's looking in his mirror is that 22 of Bill Lester. He's just in front of Ron Hornaday. So Hornaday trying to put Bill Lester a lap down, and Lester being shown in 12th position. So that means 13 on back has been lapped in this field.
And Bill's been there a long time, too. He's been in that same gaggle that we talked about with our leader, Ron Hornaday, for a long time, and Ron's not been able to put him a lap down. So Bill Lester has a great truck, along with Mike Skinner, who's right in front of him.
Problems with Robert Presley and that Harris Trucking Company number 59.
Yes, yes.
On the high side of the track, slowing down, trying to stay out of the way. The officials know that he's moving slow. They're not sure if they're going to bring the caution out.
He's trying to get off the racetrack, but he has to let the trucks go by. He's running so slow. He may have a difficult time because there's really not a gap on the racetrack. And here the caution flag is going to come out. Robert Presley really had no gap where he could turn left and drive down the bank.
No, and you got to know, Robert Presley's running 30 mile an hour. These trucks are catching him running 160 or 70. It's not, you don't just turn left. That's a smart move by Robert Presley just to keep the thing up out of the way. Besides that, you know, we'd run 70, 80 laps. Let's have us a caution.
It's time for a caution flag. Time for a pit stop.
Well, Terry Cook's got to be happy. What, Ray?
Hey, guys, you would not believe it. Terry Cook was coming to the pit road in a half a lap. They had said, look, he really needs an adjustment on this race truck, so they were just about to drop off the banking and come to pit road, and now that caution saved them. They would have been on their way down pit road when the caution happened. Got it by a half a lap.
And you got to be impressed with the job that Mike Skinner, Bill Lester, Craven, Rudiman, the leader was on their bumpers. And those guys all were able to get through some traffic and drive away.
25 laps ago, we saw them right on the leader, right on their bumper, and they all managed to stay on the lead lap, stay in contention for a great, strong finish.
Somebody we wouldn't think would need the free pass, but did get it, was Dennis Setzer. He had just gone a lap down, and so Dennis Setzer gets the free pass. He'll be able to get to the back of the lead lap trucks.
But we're just maybe outside a window. We're on lap 111 right now. We've completed 111 laps. I'm not sure if these teams can make it the rest of the way if they stop right now. If this is a long enough caution, I think we may see some teams maybe come back in and top them off to see if they can try to make it on fuel the rest of the way.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. watching father, Bobby Hamilton Sr., try to win another race this season. Marty has claimed 2 victories in the 2005 season and would love to defend his championship that he won a year ago.
Swing by his restaurant over in Nashville, Tennessee, where he cooks and cleans tables.
Here comes Ron Hornaday.
Talk a little racing with him.
He will lead the word of the day, a gaggle of trucks down pit road.
I like that theme. You can see the gaggle of trucks on the lead lap has dwindled quite significantly. Wendy, what's going on in the pit? What are they doing?
Bobby Hamilton will be one of the first trucks to hit his pit stall on the backside of pit road. They are putting scuff tires back on this truck. He said the truck started feeling a little wiggly, so he backed off a little bit, but no adjustments on Bobby Hamilton's truck. Ray?
Jason Meeks does the front tires. It's Kyle Kretschmann on the rears. Jason Tate on the jack. 4 good stops for Ron Hornaday. He will get down pit road first. They were trying to make a track bar adjustment for Jack Sprague. He was not happy with the way his truck was handling in the center of the corner, but Sprague will get off pit road, I believe, in second. Hornaday with another good stop.
Kevin Harvick doing a fine job of somewhat crew chiefing that team today.
Shoot, yeah, when you own this stuff, if you don't have a crew chief, you're going to say you're the crew chief, even though he probably hadn't made one decision yet. He just sat up there and looked good.
He also has Todd Berry there with him to help him. So, but Kevin's been around a long time, won a lot of races, and he knows what's going on.
I'm glad he's able to salvage himself a good day today so far, because that Busch race had to make him mad.
About to get back to green flag racing at Dover International Speedway.
We have 13 trucks on the lead lap. Ricky Craven made a late pit stop. He stayed out to lead a lap for the 5 bonus points. See how here's how they came in and now how they're running. It's We had a little swap. Terry Cook and Tony Stewart swap 4th and 5th.
We've seen Todd Bodine and Bobby Hamilton both drive up from the back. They qualified 21st and 23rd respectively, and now they race among the top 10 trucks.
Really important to be on the lead lap here. We've got 85 laps to go roughly. It's really important to be on the lead lap, still be in contention to win this race.
We've seen most of the cats that were able to qualify up front, Rick, stay there. You know, we've got Hornaday and Kyle Busch and Terry Cook still in the top 5, and they all started there. Ray?
Hey, guys, the 15 came in to have a pit stop that time. They wanted to make a wedge adjustment and also a track bar adjustment, so they had 2 wrenches in the back of that truck. Well, they left one of those in temporarily, so it kind of slowed their stop down, and the 22 is spinning around on the racetrack.
Out of turn 2, Bill Lesser slides to the inside of the track.
Let's put 4 on it. Get her fired up. You ready, guys? Come on.
The crew letting him know. We'll have to put 4 tires on that. He spun around.
Doesn't look like he has a flat, so he should be able to hustle back to the pit.
The good news is he didn't hit anything. That's the good news, which is pretty difficult to do here at Dover.
He almost had it heading in the right direction, but probably a break for him that he went ahead and spun around since he didn't hit anything because he got the caution. Now he can come in, tell him why it spun out. Maybe they can work on it and he can get him 4 more tires.
See if we can take a look at what caused Bill to get turned around. Watch him coming up. He's already sideways. It looked like he might have been by himself. We're not exactly sure. We didn't see the very beginning of it, but kept it out of the inside wall, kept it out of the outside wall, avoided all the other trucks.
Brad Keselowski does a nice job of slipping by.
Ray, what were you talking about with the 15 of Kyle Busch?
Well, the deal is, Rick, they had a wedge wrench in there. They were making the adjustment, and it got left in the truck. So they had to wait for the tire carrier to come back around the other side to pull that wrench out of the truck. So it slowed him down maybe a second and a half, something like that, maybe even a little bit longer. But he still came out of pit road in good shape there. So it did slow him down, though, but they lost some positions because that wrench had been stuck in the back of the truck.
We've had one long green flag run, and now we're probably inside of the fuel window. Ron Hornaday out in front.
You know, one of the problems with using a shop vac is normally there's just a 3 or 4 foot hose, and that means the unit is sitting right here in your way. Well, Craftsman has solved that problem with this brand new 5-gallon wall mount unit. Now, all of your accessories are right here on this handy caddy, and it's easy to mount the hose up like this. There's a 14 and a 7-foot hose. But this thing's not stuck to the wall. If you need to take it with you, it's ready to go.
Welcome back to Dover International Speedway, the Dover 200 on Speed Channel. So far, 6 cautions have taken place. That means actually 5 have earned the free pass. Out in front, Ron Hornaday continues to lead. We've had 3 different trucks out in front. Ricky Craven stayed out to lead 1 lap. He was 3rd in the point standing, so trying to gain those extra 5 points.
Let's mention that David Starr was a recipient of the free pass this last caution flag. Remember, we saw him make some contact with the inside wall on the backstretch. He fought his way back. They worked on the truck. Back now on the lead lap.
Tony Stewart has crept up to the 3rd spot. It's been steady and consistent, not really flashy today, but that truck's just consistently run some of the top 5 speeds of the day. Now he finds himself in a position where he can go get the lead.
You know, early on he was about a 6th or 7th place truck. Then he got to be a 5th or 6th, then a 4th. Now he's 3rd. He continues to work on that truck. Randy Goss and his team, they know how to make that truck go fast. They won earlier this year at Martinsville with Bobby Labonte. They finished 2nd by a whisker in Atlanta, also with Bobby Labonte. And looks like they've got a great top 5 run going with Tony Stewart.
Tony suffered through some, I'm sure, difficult times at Lowe's because the truck just wasn't running the way he wanted it to. It just didn't have the power that he wanted to have that truck. And so he pulled it into the garage early. He didn't want to do any damage on that, right?
And Rick, this is the exact same truck that he had at Charlotte. It's chassis 01, same one that Michael drove at Charlotte in his race too. But on the very first pit stop today at lap 38, when Tony Stewart came into the pits, he actually slid through his pit stop, or stall, excuse me, and they had to back him up just a little bit, slowing him down, and he lost a few spots. He said, boy, these trucks just stop differently than the cars do. But on his last stop, he was right on the mark. They raised the track bar 1.5 rounds for Tony Stewart, and I believe Smoke is on kill right now in that 47.
Got a little tense here on the front straightaway.
We have another gaggle there, did we?
We did. We had some sideways driving, and one of those involved in that was Kenny Schrader, and he can drive sideways. I mean, when he's in a dirt car, but you don't expect it at the Monster Mile. Let's take a look.
David Rudiman was up on the inside of Schrader, and check this out.
We're on board with Kenny.
You hear the tire skidding? When you're the driver, if you hear the tire skidding, generally it's followed by a whoosh. Yeah. Oh, look at there.
Boy,
Wow.
Matt Craftsman got completely sideways over there. I bet you he heard the tires skidding too, just like Kenny did earlier. Now we have 3 wide going down in the corner.
No place for Mike Skinner. He stays in the middle. Deborah Renshaw on the outside of that 8. Rick Crawford in the 14, and Ted Musgrave in back looking on.
Deborah Renshaw's been running really strong today in that 8 truck. She's kept right up with Skinner for the last all throughout the end of that long run. Watch Matt Crafton here. He's on the inside of Schrader now. Let's see if he can finish the deal. Rudiman couldn't finish it. He just ran into Schrader.
Watch Crafton get completely sideways. Look at David Rudiman take evasive action there. Drives up to the outside.
Wow. That's a great save by Matt Crafton. Jimmy Spencer taking the inside line, going into the corner. Wendy.
Bobby Hamilton might have a flat tire. You saw him drop all the way back to 14th. He's been running in the top 10 all day. He fell back a few spots. Now his crew chief Danny Rollins just said it looks okay from here, but Bobby Hamilton feels like he has a flat tire somewhere in the rear running in 14th.
So problems for our defending champion. At least he believes he has a problem in that 04. And doesn't look like he has a problem getting by the 2 of Jimmy Spencer.
Man, I'm going to tell you, Ray, Hornaday is 0.2 of a second faster than the whole field right now. He is hauling.
He is such a torrid pace there that time. Again, almost every lap we have a computer monitor up here in the booth and we can see everybody's last lap time. This time by Todd Bodine had the quickest lap time at a 24:02, and he's currently being shown in the 4th position.
3 different drivers have been out in front as we take a look at the race summary. 31 cars still on the track. The average speed just over 100 miles an hour. And that's not too bad, seeing as though we've had 6 cautions so far in this race.
You see Hornaday go by, and then you have to wait a long time. There's Hornaday moving out of your screen, and here comes the 2nd place truck of Kyle Busch at 15, and then Tony Stewart right behind him.
Tony is closed on Kyle Busch. You can see Tony out the back of Kyle Busch's Silverado there.
And you could hear Kyle Busch coming off the corner as we talked earlier. He backed off a little bit, pedaled to make sure he gets that truck turned and gets a straight run off the corner down the straightaway.
Ray, what's going on with these tires?
Well, Rick, as Wendy told you at the top of the show, everybody has plenty of tires. You can see a set of stickers sitting down here in Ron Hornaday's pit. Now, the biggest question I have is, will anybody get to use them? We restarted here with 85 laps to go, and everybody's going to be very close on fuel, but should be able to make it. Now, I think the variable is, do we get another caution, and how many laps are there to go? If there's inside 10 or 15 laps to go, I'm not sure guys come for tires. I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. But plenty of tires down here trackside if they choose to pit.
Ron Hornaday out in front. His last win came in Atlanta in our 2nd race, and I'll tell you what, when Ron Hornaday won that race, it was just by ever so slight of a difference between him and the 47 truck, which was then driven by Bobby Labonte. It almost looks like we could have the same thing happen here, but it's Tony Stewart in the 47 that could be contesting with Ron Hornaday.
Well, he's going to have to catch Ron Hornaday, right? And right now, Ron Hornaday has been the fastest truck the majority of this race. And again, here this lap also, he has the fastest lap time. So I think we're going to need another caution flag to see if maybe some of these drivers can make some adjustments to see if they can do something with Ron Hornaday.
Every time these guys come to pit road, Ron is probably saying, don't touch my truck. I love it. It's fast. We're winning this race. Everybody else is saying, if I'm going to catch Ron, I need a little wedge out. I need a little bit different air pressure. So right now, if this thing will stay green, it'll make Ron happy because I think he's got just enough gas to get to the finish. You think, Phil?
It's going to be very, very close. Most of these trucks can get about 4 miles to the gallon, and that would be about 87 or 88 miles. And as Ray mentioned, everyone pitted back on lap number 118.
2-time champion Ron Hornaday looking to win his 2nd race in 2005.
for Bobby Hamilton. The real story was probably the race he just made from the pit box to over the wall. Bobby Hamilton came in under green. He had a loose left rear wheel, so they had to come in. That vibration that Bobby Hamilton was feeling was not a flat tire, just a loose wheel on the left rear. They came in, changed 4 tires, and he's back out there, but unfortunately, he's now 4 laps down.
Kyle Busch was going to pull over and let Tony Stewart go because he wanted to try to save his tires for a little bit later in the race. But crew chief Richie Waters said, hey, watch for the 04. He's coming inside. And as Hamilton made that move, he put a little distance now between the 15 and the 47. But Kyle Busch was thinking that he might let Tony Stewart go by to try to save tires.
Take a look at the battle for 8th position. Mike Skinner and Dennis Setzer. Skinner, a 2-time champion of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We'd heard that NASCAR was checking out turns 1 and 2. They thought debris may be a problem. And sure enough, the caution has come out. That's our 7th caution of the day, coming out on lap 146. And there is the debris that brought out this flag.
What are we going to do now, Phil?
Well, I think some of these people, especially at the back of the lead lap, will pit. I'm not sure if we're going to see our leaders, Ron Hornaday and Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart. I'm not sure if we're going to see them on pit road.
We will find that and who will win this race when we come back from this commercial break. MBNA Race Points 200 on Speed Channel. We are expecting our leader to come down pit road and lead the lead lap trucks for potentially the final pit stop of the day. Wendy?
Well, we were just going to call the 17 pit at David Rudiman, but at the very last second, he ducked back out off of pit lane and back on the track. They were going to follow the leaders. They decided not to pit. Little bit of rolling the dice on the 17 truck. Ray, what do you have?
They asked Hornaday, what do you want to do? Hornaday says, how many laps are left? They said 50. He said, no doubt about it. We've got to pit or we'll get beat. Those guys are going with 4. Same thing for Tony Stewart. A little bit slow coming around the front. Had just a little bit of a hang-up on the right front. So that'll give Hornaday the advantage getting off pit road. The 6 will go. Then it's going to be the 15. Where will Tony Stewart come out? He's going to go right by with Todd Bodine, but Stewart will be back out in 3rd or 4th. Just a little bit of a hang-up did not help Tony Stewart.
As Wendy mentioned, David Rudiman decided to stay on the racetrack.
That's a gutsy call when all the leaders pit. You know what you like to do if you're running 6th or 7th and the leaders pit and you stay out, you look in that mirror and say, please, 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 everybody else stay out with me, stay out with me. But David watched them all go to pit road. He's a sitting duck right now, I think, Rick.
After our 7th caution for debris, the teams come in with the exception of the 17 of David Rudiman. We'll find out if it pays off.
Let's recap what we've seen so far. This is the very first lap. Robert Huffman makes contact with Steve Park, causes this mess for about 5 different trucks.
Got off to a little bit of a rough start. Kelly Sutton loses her truck. That was the 2nd and 3rd cautions that she was involved in.
You see David Starr, he's on the inside of Terry Cook. He makes some pretty hard contact with the inside wall.
Bill Lester just slides through the corner, finally gets it turned around, heading the wrong direction, shoots back to pit road, and he's still on the lead lap.
And an unbelievable turn of events for Ron Hornaday. We're hearing that he may have a missing lug nut. Ray, does he have a missing lug nut?
Oh, here he comes to pits, Ray.
Well, we don't know yet, but Ron's on the radio saying, what happens if we come in here and they're all on there? Are they going to give me my spot back? And they said, well, we don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But Hornaday on his way down pit road now to come in to check it out and see what it is. The NASCAR official indicated to the fact that it was on the right rear, and he will come here to get it checked out. Kyle Craftsman changes rear tires. Here is a good wrench Chevy, I guess on the left rear, sorry. And they look down, and there was a missing lug nut. They put it back on, and Hornaday will head back to the racetrack, but giving up incredible amounts of track position. Wendy?
Before the start of the race, I saw Darrell Waltrip go over to the 17 hauler and give a sort of a pep talk to the 17 team, a motivational speech from DW. He also put a sticker in David Rudiman's truck, and it said, don't beat yourself. So the team is motivated a little bit harder by their boss DW today. There's been a lot of conversation from DW and crew chief Jason Overstreet on what they were going to do on that pit call, but it was actually Jason Overstreet at the last minute told David to stay out. DW came over the radio and he said, you got what you got, make it work, do your best.
Well, he did catch a break. I said you wanted a couple of guys to hang in behind you, and he did get Timothy Peters and Bill Lester to stay out on the racetrack with him. That gives him a cushion feel from those trucks on the fresh tires. You can see Hornaday's pit there. Those guys are distraught. He had a dominant truck. You had to feel like the NASCAR official brought him back to the pit road. There was indeed a lug nut missing.
Yeah, here's a pit stop. We're hearing that it was a rear lug nut that was left off. Probably on the left rear more than likely.
Yeah, the right side goes smoothly. You can see the tire changer changing his gun over. They come around, take off the nuts here. Let's see if we can see any indication of a problem he has there.
Yeah, watch the tire changer. He reached and see, he held his hand up. He was reaching for a lug nut on the ground, and there the 6 truck leaves the pits without a lug nut.
And they're saying they're all on there, I promise.
Absolutely. That's what they're going to say. I'm sure I got them all on there. And the NASCAR officials stuck by his guns and said, no, you're going to have to come back in. You see Todd Berrier, Kevin Harvick. You know, they know they have a great truck. Right now, there's 14 trucks on the lead lap. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's got such a good truck. He's going to have a little less than 50 laps to do it.
This could make some good TV, Phil.
It sure could. That's what we're here for.
That's right. We want to bring it to the folks at home. NASCAR just sticks by their rules. They watch that truck just like he was running in 20th place. They don't care he's dominating the race. He has to have all his lug nuts on. They make sure that's what happens. Send him out in 14th. And we're going to be the beneficiaries of watching Ron Hornaday drive like crazy.
Inside, 50 laps to go. David Rudiman brings him to the start-finish line, and we're back underway in Dover.
Remember, our top 3 trucks right now stayed out on this caution flag, so everyone behind them has a little bit fresher tires than they do, led by the 15 of Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch recently winning at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Now he tries to get by the 22 of Bill Lester. Lester being shown in 3rd. It was David Rudiman, Timothy Peters, and Bill Lester all staying out when the rest of the leaders came down pit road.
Remember how long Bill Lester was able to stay in front of our leader Ron Hornaday when Ron was about to lap him. So Kyle Busch, right now he's got really good tires. He's got as good tires as he's going to have. After he gets the air pressure build up for a lap or 2, that's as good as his tires are going to be. He probably needs to make use of them right then.
And he's got a cat breathing down his neck that wants to win a race. He won 3 races last year. Everybody knows about Todd Bodine at Dover, and he is charging right now, trying to get that Toyota to the front.
Looks like Mike Hillman got his truck better and better and better. Here he is, racing with Kyle Busch. Still not able to do anything with Bill Lester. Bill's just holding his line. You see Todd, look on the inside of Kyle Busch.
Side-by-side racing. That is a battle for 4th position. Bodine tucking right up behind Kyle Busch. He's trying to make the pass. Ray.
Hey, Rick, Todd Bodine's already been a big winner today. I saw him over at the casino on the backstretch, and he said, man, I knocked him dead today. I said, how much did you win? He said, $15.
Well, all right. He'd like to get by the 15 right now, Kyle Busch, and get another victory for his Toyota team. Now, Toyota and Ford have not won a race this year, and so right now we have David Rudiman in a Toyota up front, Bill Lester in a Toyota in 3rd, and Todd Bodine in a Toyota in 5th position right now.
A couple of those Toyotas used some strategy in the pits to try to hang on to some front spots, Rudiman and Lester, obviously. And it appears right now these guys have stabilized somewhat around these trucks that came in to get tires. Just to tell you how important track position is, Ron Hornaday was driving away with this thing. He has only been able to climb up to the 12th spot when we put him back in traffic.
Timothy Peters doing a spectacular job today. He stays out to get the track position, but he qualified 4th. He had a great qualifying run. His career best was earlier this year at Gateway. He finished 16th and right now running 2nd.
Remember early on in this race, you mentioned the great qualifying run. Well, he ran the top 5 for a good part of the early part of this race, so he really has a good truck. He's doing a great job right now, and it looks like the drivers, Michael, that put the fresh tires on aren't really able to drive by these fellas like we thought they would.
It's stabilized right now. You can see the NTN bearings Toyota there at Rudiman. Darrell was telling me the reason for the talk with the guys is he's getting pressure. Toyota's saying you need to perform, DW, and NTN's saying we got to get that truck up front. You can see the way Rudiman has responded here. He's got Darrell's truck up front with just 40 laps to go.
I would say David Rudiman is a very good listener. Running very strong out in front. And in his NTN Bearings Toyota, David Rudiman looking for his first career win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
And the guys that are in front, Bill Lester's the one with all the pressure. He's got the leaders right on his bumper, the cats with new tires. You could see Terry Cook there, but watch Lester. He's a little bit slow through the center, but he keeps putting that Levi Strauss truck there right where Kyle Busch wants to go. Nowhere for Kyle to go. Bill's doing a great job on older tires, holding off these guys behind him that are on new ones.
We had mentioned Timothy Peters with a career best of 16th. Bill Lester had a career best 2 weeks ago. He was able to finish 6th at Lowe's.
There goes Todd down to the inside. Let me remind you of something, Phil. Bill Lester might be catching a break here from the fact that Kyle Busch just had a crash in the Busch race. They probably said, don't drive in there and hit anybody this race or we will have problems with you.
And Michael, I don't think it's going to be long until Kyle Busch feels a sense of urgency. Hey, right now we have 38 laps to go. It won't be much long before he says, if I'm going to win this race, I'm going to have to start passing some people. Right now I'm running 4th. I can't win this race from 4th. I'm going to have to pass some trucks.
And you know what happens with a sense of urgency? The bumper becomes part of the game. You run into the guy ahead of you. You just try to bump him just a little bit. And Kyle Busch has gotten to the inside of Lester. Can he sustain the spot? Looks like maybe he's going to pull it off.
Kyle Busch taking away 3rd from Bill Lester. And here comes Todd Bodine now. He'll try to take away the spot. He's able to get off the gas there. And here comes Tony Stewart. We talked about him having problems in the pits. He has already made his way back up to 6th.
You know, we talked about the groove widening out, and the groove did widen out. There's a lot of rubber down. But Todd Bodine got real sideways right there. He lost some momentum. He's going to pull back down, block Tony Stewart. But the drivers haven't really been able to drive around the outside like I thought they may be able to. I thought Kyle Busch may try it. He didn't do it. Nobody really has right now. We saw Todd Bodine run on the outside early on, but they're not able to make any passes. So we see Tony Stewart drive up beside of him, try to get up beside him. We do have a change for 2nd right there. Kyle Busch has not been able to get by Timothy Peters for the 2nd position.
Now he's going to run up there. It'll take him probably about 7, 8, 10 laps, I bet. But he will catch Rudiman. That truck is fast. And when he gets to Rudiman, what's going to happen? Is he going to try to go around the top, or will he just simply sit there and bang on him until he can get underneath Rudiman?
Tony Stewart has made his way up to 6th position. How's he doing out there, Ray?
Absolutely fine, Rick. And Randy Goss just asked him the same thing on the radio. Said, "You okay?" He said, "Yeah, man." He said, "I want to wait till about 20 to go before I start making my move. I want to try to save some tires." But he gets into Bodine, and they're going to crash. The 66 and the 22 are into the wall.
Todd Bodine got bumped by the 47 of Tony Stewart. That sent him into the 22, and Bill Lester slams into the turn 2 wall.
What a terrible break for Bill Lester.
He just broke loose straight into you.
We'll have to take a look at that. You see Bill Lester had such a good run going.
Wow. A great run. The 2nd week in a row. That shows you that, you know, the Charlotte deal wasn't a fluke. He's a top 10 truck, and he was 1 again today. And, man, that's a shame.
He was out there. He was on a little bit older tires than a lot of these guys, but he was keeping his nose clean. When Kyle Busch got underneath him, he let him go. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened here as they go down into turn number 3. You see Todd Bodine get side by side with Bill coming off turn number 2. It slows his momentum down a little bit. Watch to your right of your screen. You see Tony. He's going to drive down there. Todd moved down to block Tony. Tony ran in the back of Todd and knocked him into Bill. And Bill gets, unfortunately, the worst of it.
The closing rate that Tony Stewart had there, Todd Bodine may not have even known that Tony Stewart was coming on the inside. He came so fast when they got into turn 3.
It looked like Todd actually turned down away from Bill a little bit earlier. I think he may have had an idea that Tony was coming, and he was going to try to block off that lane. When these trucks run side by side like that off that corner, it slows their momentum down so much. That's what gave Tony such a run. And unfortunately, let's take another look at it. You see Tony gets a good run, and Todd is about 3 truck widths away from Bill Lester, and unfortunately Tony ran in the back of him when he pulled down in front of him and then ran into Bill Lester.
Let's ride along with Todd Bodine.
You heard the contact between Todd Bodine and Bill Lester.
And so does this help David Rudiman, who is out in front? Under 32 laps to go. The continuing research and development of Toyota in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has been very exciting to watch. Let's take a closer look in this week's Toyota Spotlight. David Rudiman out in front. in that Darrell Waltrip Motorsports number 17. Intian Bearings number 17. Todd Bodine having a pretty strong run. The only problem is he just got into Bill Lester and took both of those guys up to the wall.
Yeah, but Todd didn't pit. That's interesting, don't you think, Phil? He hit that other truck hard. That thing looks like it could smoke. Could get a fender against the tire. Look at that.
See all the damage to the right side. I'm sure he had a spotter look at his truck and said, hey, do you think we need to pit? They saw what happened to Ron Hornaday when he had to pit because of a missing lug nut. He was able really only to gain maybe 1 or 2 positions after the last restart. So they said, hey, we don't want to give up this track position. They're probably thinking we're better off if that thing starts rubbing, well, then maybe we'll pit then. Otherwise, we need to stay up here.
Wendy, have you heard anything? What's going on with Ruderman and his strategy?
David Ruderman has been free on the long runs now. You heard DW talking during this caution lap to David Ruderman, just rooting him on for victory here. And they were also talking about what they're going to do with Kyle Busch. They plan on running the bottom line for the 17 truck. When the 15 comes up on him and puts pressure on him, he asks the 15 spotter if he will pass him on the outside if he puts pressure on the 17. But DW just reminded David to run your line and you'll do great.
He's going.
Got a good start there by Ruderman. Was able to get a truck length or 2 on him. Kyle was extremely fast once he got around Timothy Peters.
I wonder if he gets, maybe once he gets right up to David Ruderman like he is right now, will he get a little bit of an arrow push? See, David Ruderman's going to protect the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see if Kyle tries to go on the outside. I think he's thinking inside right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too.
Ruderman holds his line on the white line of the track. The bottom line, the preferred way around this track, Michael.
Ruderman just needs to forget about Kyle right now. I know that's easier said than done, but he doesn't need to be blocking to the inside. He just needs to be running his line. He stretched out a pretty good lead on that group of trucks, so maybe his truck's good enough to get away from Kyle. We saw Kyle battle to get around Bill Lester. We know that David Ruderman's truck is better than Bill Lester, so maybe he can hold him up once they run 3 or 4 laps here.
And these trucks have a tendency to get a little bit. You see Tony Stewart try to drive underneath Timothy Peters. He does do that. He takes over the 3rd position.
Now, I'm going to tell you, business is fixing to heat up front because Kyle Busch can't be goofing around anymore. Tony Stewart's there, and it's fixing to be on. There's Tony to the inside.
Is he going to have room? Kyle gives him the opening.
Wow.
Oh, trouble. Jack Sprague gets spun around, and he's into the wall as they go across the start-finish line. That brings out caution number 9.
He got hit by Todd Bodine coming off turn number 4. Todd looked like he lost control, made some contact with Jack, and then you see the result, unfortunately, here for Jack Sprague.
Man, this racing business is fickle. There Jack was just...
Had such a great truck. We saw him running the top 3 earlier.
He was running 6th when he come across the start-finish line backwards, you know, and Todd, I don't see what happened to Todd. We'll have to try to get a replay of this, but I know those 2 trucks did get together.
A lot of damage to that 16 Chevy Silverado. See if we can take a look at what happened. You see, watch the 66, Michael. The Terry Cook, the 10 truck just drove by him. Todd runs up. Looks like he makes a little bit of contact. Jack got into him, got him sideways. And then Todd, and just trying to correct his truck, made some contact with Jack Sprague, and unfortunately, Jack's going to really pay the price.
Well, maybe racing isn't so fickle. Maybe he just drove up there and hit him and wrecked himself.
Let's take another look at it. We see that was what I looked up and saw, that Todd made some contact with him, but obviously from the other angle, we saw that Todd got hit by Jack Sprague, and that's why he was trying to save his truck, and unfortunately, Jack is really going to pay for it.
9th caution. I'm sorry, Phil. The 9th caution of the day coming out. That's a record at Dover for the trucks. Ray?
Hey, guys, Sprague just basically said that Todd had to get out of the gas there when he came up against the 10. And he said when he lifted, Jack tried to do the same, but there wasn't enough time.
Jack Sprague walks to the emergency vehicle. And so caution 9 comes out. Jack Sprague out of this race. High atop Dover International Speedway, cruising the American skies for over 80 years, the Goodyear blimp. The spirit of Goodyear providing our aerial view and reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear's new Assurance tires. Wendy. Wendy, go ahead.
Hello, Wendy. Come in.
David Rudiman might have a little jitters during the last laps of the race. NASCAR was not very happy with his last restart. Instead of jumping the restart, he was actually too slow on the restart. NASCAR has been in the 17 pit, reminding David on this restart, if he does not watch and keep up to speed on this restart with the pace truck, then he will get flag. David Rudiman came over the radio and said, man, I'll do whatever it takes, whatever they want. I will do it. And DW said, don't let this get out of your groove. So they're trying to keep David Rudiman calm and make him speed up on this next restart.
I won a Busch race here, Phil, driving for Darrell back in 1988, and I had to turn the radio off. He was giving me all those instructions that I'm sure David's receiving right now, and I finally had all I could take.
His team cheering him on as they go by the pits. David Rudiman tries to hold off on the outside. Kyle Busch makes the pass. He'll take over the top spot. Here comes Tony Stewart, and Tony Stewart gets by. And that is 1 and 2. Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart under 20 laps to go.
What a move by Kyle Busch. He said, hey, we're inside 20 laps to go. I'm going to have to do it now, and it looks like I'm going to have to do it on the outside, and he did it.
Terry Cook in 4th position. A great run for that Power Stroke Diesel by International, number 10 of Terry Cook.
Look at Dennis Setzer there. He's racing right now for the top 5. He was a lap down. He got the free pass, and here he is back in contention. Brendan Gaughan, another one that got the free pass earlier. Back in contention for a great top 10 finish.
In 9th position right now, Ron Hornaday. He was so dominant. He led so many laps, 134 laps of this race, and then a mistake on a pit stop, leaving a lug nut off the left rear, put him all the way to the back of the lead lap trucks, but he's been able to fight his way back up, and now he's in 8th position.
You just gotta love the Truck Series. You never know what the story's gonna be, where they're gonna come from. Right now, you got Kyle Busch leading the race, Tony Stewart right on his bumper, Craven charging through the field.
Remember, he's another guy that got not one lap of practice with this truck. He cut a tire down, ruined his primary truck in practice, was not able to practice this truck at all, and here he is running in the top 10. But look at Terry Cook, another great run for Terry Cook. He's right now in 4th position, going to try to back up that good top 2 finish of 2 weeks ago.
And there's 2 manufacturers right there looking for their first win. Toyota and Ford have yet to win in the 2005 season.
That 15 truck of Kyle Busch, though, is putting the distance between he and Tony Stewart. It looks like Rudiman's been able to stabilize his 3rd place position. Oh, we got a car in the wall off turn 2. That's Todd Bodine, and it looks like the caution will fly.
Another caution coming out. This is number 10.
Remember we said we thought maybe that tire could rub on that truck? That looked like it had all the signs of a right front tire failure. Maybe that fender was down into his tire.
But he pitted on the most recent caution flag, so obviously when he lost the top 5 position, he came down pit road. But you know, that still may have been the case, but he made some contact with the outside wall. Let's see if we can take a look.
Looked like it hurt.
At what happened.
There's Kenny Wallace to the scene, saying, what happened, dude?
Todd Bodine bringing out our 10th caution of the day. That hit right there, very hard into the wall coming out of turn number 2. We'll be back with more from Dover. Welcome back to the Dover 200 on Speed Channel. It is race number 8 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and we have had a plethora of cautions today. We're at 10, and Kyle Busch is hoping that another one does not come out, right?
Hey guys, remember Kyle Busch got into Kevin Harvick in the Busch race by going to the low side. He just said on his radio, I'm going to run the outside line no matter what. From now on, I don't want to give Stewart any room. He's going to have to pass me on the bottom. Now realize Buddy Lazier will be in this truck at Texas, then Kyle back in Michigan. But Shane Meal normally drives the 15, and he is now suspended. So let me throw a name in the hat real quick. A young driver I think you may see in the 15 soon, Blake Feast out of the Hendrick stable. Billy Ballou, the owner, thinks he's pretty good. But all eyes are on the 15 right now. They're telling him the 47's going to have to pass him on the bottom. Kyle's going to keep the high line. What about the 17, Wendy?
I think David Rudiman's feathers got a little ruffled on the restart by Kyle Busch in the 15, but David seems to have his composure back together. He was fortunate to have the caution come out. He wanted another chance at that restart once again. I also want to point out our 5th place runner is Timothy Peters, one of our rookie contenders. This is only his 4th Truck Series start, and Guys, he's 5th right now. Timothy Peters, our rookie, could end up with a solid finish here at Dover.
Right now, second place, Tony Stewart. He's going to try to figure out a way by Kyle Busch. Kyle gets a great start. He's got a truck length in between he and Tony Stewart. Look at Terry Cook look to the outside of David Rudiman. He saw Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart do it on the last restart.
Terry Cook takes away the 3rd spot from David Rudiman and now sets his sights on the 2 Chevrolets in front of him.
Wow, here comes Tony Stewart. He's heating Kyle Busch up. It looked like Kyle was able to drive away from him a little bit on that last run, Phil, but Tony certainly closed in there in 3 and 4.
We're inside of 10 laps to go. Tony knows that if he's going to do it, he's going to have to do it pretty quick.
Clear by 3. Clear by 3. Hit your mark. Don't overdrive.
Wow. Oh, incredible.
Dennis Setzer had just saved the truck, and then he inched up in front of the 77 of Brendan Gaughan, and another caution will come out. That is caution 11 at Dover.
Wow, Tony. Dennis Setzer got sideways off 2 and just didn't realize that the 77 had gotten on the outside of him.
He kept creeping up, and Brendan didn't want to. That was a battle for position. Brendan didn't want to back off. Dennis kept creeping up, and finally Brendan ran out of room.
It looked like Dennis Setzer was going to be running 5th when he came back to the start-finish line. Now he's crashed.
See if we can take a look. There he is on the bottom of the Ford truck, trying to race the Ford truck.
Look at that.
Gets loose on the bottom, makes a little bit of contact. He saves it. Now watch. Brendan's right up against the wall going by. Dennis, as you said, I don't think he knew he was there. He was still trying to corral his truck, and unfortunately forced Brendan into the outside wall, and Dennis pays the price.
I don't know how much damage was done to the Gaughan truck, but look at there. He's already squeezed against the wall. Brendan was doing all he could to stay off Dennis. Look at Brendan's left front fender. It's torn all to pieces, Phil.
I hope he doesn't have a flat tire, because if he has to come to pit road, he is going to give up a great position. He's going to have so few laps to try to get back into the top 10.
Through the free pass, we wound up with 14 trucks. Look at Gaughan right against the wall.
He could not have got out of the way any more than what he did. And again, he didn't want to back off because he's racing for position. He knows that he's probably going to beat Dennis down into the corner if Dennis would have given him just a little bit of room.
Take a look at the work taking place on the 46. Look at our points as of now. Musgrave holding on to the top spot. Ricky Craven, the big winner, he moves up. He was 3rd coming into this race. Now just 24 points out of the top spot and yet to win a race.
Ron Hornaday would move up a couple positions. He came into this race in 6th. He would be 4th if the race ended right now, but it's not over yet.
And we can tell, you never know what's going to happen next. Wow. There's only going to be about 4 or 5 laps to go when they say let's go, boys. And
let's go. We'll be all right, buddy.
We mentioned the free pass. Inside of 10 laps, NASCAR does not give a truck the free pass. It would have gone to Ken Schrader, but again, since we're inside of 10 laps, Schrader will not be the beneficiary. He's still going to be shown a lap down. Now we will have a single file restart, meaning that there will be 13 trucks on the lead lap because Dennis Setzer, Dennis Setzer could stay on the lead lap. He will be the 14th truck on the lead lap, so he's at the far end of the lead lap trucks.
We hear that Todd Bodine and Jack Sprague from an earlier accident have both been released from the infield care center, so we want to make sure that everyone knows that they're okay. Ron Hornaday's continued to fight his way back. He's being shown right now in the 6th position. He had such a good truck early on. You really hate to see a mistake take somebody out of what looked like maybe a sure win, but Ron's fought his way back. They've made some more pit stops after the majority of these trucks up front have pitted, and unfortunately he's back in 6th, but hey, he's going to have 4 or 5 laps to go maybe to do something.
And look at that truck right there, Phil. He's got the left front corner torn off that thing. He's on a wing and a prayer right now. There's no way aerodynamically that truck's going to work, but he's only got to hold on to it for 5 laps. One of those will be getting up to speed, so he's thinking maybe he can hold them off for just 4 laps. He'll be good. I don't see it happening. There's Craven. It looks like maybe Craven's telling him he's got a flat left front tire. I did see some marks on that left front tire. I think maybe that's what Craven's saying.
Well, and that fender is actually rubbing the left front tire as well.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't have a flat tire, because if he drives down in that corner, in the first corner, and that tire is low.
You can see, if you look close, you can see some grooves cut into that tire. Craven's laying back off of him on the start. Smart move by Ricky, because because he thinks when they get to the turn, he doesn't know where the 77's going to go.
5 laps to go. Kyle Busch out in front of Tony Stewart. Terry Cook in third. In fourth, the 17 of David Rudiman. Again, inside of 5 laps to go. We'll find out if Kyle Busch can win 2 in a row.
And Ron Hornaday gets one more position. He was able to drive by Timothy Peters on the restart.
He's fixing to heat David Rudiman up going into turn 1. Rudiman moves to the bottom. Hornaday doesn't care. He'll go right around the top of him. Up to 4th goes Hornaday.
Hornaday on a mission, trying to get back to the front, but not enough time in this one, I don't believe. Kyle Busch running very strong out in front of the 47 of Tony Stewart.
If I was these 3 drivers in front, I would not want to see a restart with Ron Hornaday behind me.
A green-white checker might do one of them in.
3 laps to go.
Obviously, Brendan Gaughan did have a tire going down because he drove right into that first corner, drove up the racetrack. All the lead lap trucks have been able to drive by him.
He's coming to the pit road now. You'll see the leaders pass by him as they enter turn 4.
Coming out of turn number 4, Kyle Busch. 2 laps of racing to go.
Can he make it back-to-back? He was our most recent winner in this very same truck 2 races ago at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Last driver to win back-to-back races, Casey Kane, ending last season with 2 wins. Kyle Busch looking to do it again. He was the youngest winner in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series ever when he won 2 weeks ago at Lowe's. This time around, the white flag flies. 1 mile to go for Kyle Busch.
He knows he's not going to have any more restarts. Once they take the white flag, the race is going to end right here. Kyle Busch is going to do back-to-back.
Down the back stretch he goes. Tony Stewart looks as though he'll settle for second today. Terry Cook, another impressive run in third. But coming out of turn number 4, Kyle Busch will see the checkered flag and win the Dover 200. Great racing for position. David Rudiman with a strong finish, as does Ricky Craven. Timothy Peters with another great run, finishing 6th today.
Good job, guys. Y'all are the best.
Kyle Busch has found him a home there with Billy Ballou and the boys. And Richie Waters and Dytech.com truck. Second start in it. He's got 2 wins.
And Michael, I talked to Richie Waters before the race, and he said Kyle's going to drive this truck a lot more. Maybe every combination race that we see with the Next Up Cup cars, we may see Kyle Busch in this Dytech.com Chevrolet.
And Chevy congratulates Kyle Busch and the winning number 15 Chevy Silverado on today's big win. No truck has been dominant in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series like the Chevy Silverado. Chevy, the winningest name in racing, an American revolution.
I liked Richie Waters' strategy today, didn't you, Phil?
It was better than Charlotte. I got on to him, too. I said, don't you stop for gas today. Don't you do what you did to Michael and I last week and make us look bad like that.
Kyle Busch ending his day a lot better than he started it. He crashed out of the Busch race, but he comes back and wins the truck race in Sports Talk. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Let's go right down to victory lane and Ray Dunlap.
Here comes Kyle Busch out. Last week he was the youngest winner ever in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and now you can add back-to-back victor. A rough day earlier today in the Busch Series, but a great performance here as he brings this Dytech Chevy back to victory lane. Man, I'll tell you what, you were awfully good today. Did you know that your truck was going to be good enough to win this race?
No, I didn't in the beginning there. I didn't think we were going to be that good. Ron Hornaday should have won this race. There's no doubt in my mind that Ron Hornaday, he was awesome. That truck would leave on the restarts and just be gone and checked out, and it was good. It was a really good truck, and I knew we were racing for second place, but, you know, a fault by their team there just led us up to the front and got us track position, and that's what we needed. As soon as our Chevrolet got out front, it was just awesome.
We were talking about the races coming up. I just talked with Billy Ballou, the owner. He said he's going to have a big meeting on Monday with the Hendrick guys to see who all is going to be driving this. I think you helped that out quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so. You know, I want to get Blake Reed. Whoa, that was bad. Blake Feast and Boston Reed in this thing. That'd be pretty cool to get them some extra experience in a truck series. You know, these things are fun to drive. They're short races. They're good enough where they have a tire rule where you can learn how to drive on old tires and stuff. But I really want to thank Dytech.com again. You know, it was a great effort by them, and of course Hendrick Motorsports and this Chevy Silverado. Man, it was awesome today.
Congratulations. That's back-to-back for Kyle Busch.
The unofficial results for the Dover 200. Kyle Busch, his second victory in 9 starts.
I love when you look at the finishing order. A lot of good things happen. Timothy Peters, a very strong run. Ricky Craven battled from the back. David Starr hit the wall, still top 10'd it. Matt Craftsman almost crashed and got 9th.
Max Skinner rounded up the top 10. Rick Crawford battled for 11th place finish. And how about Deborah Renshaw? Her best career finish on the lead lap at 12th. What a terrific job for her. Really something to build on going to Texas next week.
And also Brad Keselowski. That's a solid run for that team. Kevin LePage, we hadn't seen him in a truck, and got a top 20 out of it.
That's his first ever career start in a Craftsman truck. There's some fellas that had some trouble. Bobby Hamilton had a flat tire, cost him a few laps. Jimmy Spencer's truck was never really good all day long, made an unscheduled pit stop to work on it. Then Tom Bodine, some contact, and Jack Sprague, a hard impact to the wall. Bill Lester, a tough break after running in the top 10 the entire race.
Rounding out the field, Kelly Sutton, Brandon Witt, Wayne Edwards, Johnny Benson, Robert Huffman, and Steve Park involved in an accident on the very first lap of the race. And so, very difficult day for Benson, Huffman, and Park. We take a look at the points through 8 races. And out in front, it's Ted Musgrave, Ricky Craven, moving up to second, just 20 points out of the top spot.
Ron Hornaday jumps a couple spots. He came in 6th. He's going to move up to 4th.
See Johnny Benson holding on to the 10th spot in the points. David Rudeman had a really strong points day today. He had found himself down in 17th, well out of the top 10. And after today's event, he's 13th and only 54 out, Phil.
Terry Cook and David Starr jumped into the top 10, both of them outside the top 10 coming in to Dover.
The event winding down for the Dover 200. Kyle Busch claiming his 2nd win in 9 starts. That's back-to-back. And today in Dover, you had to be tough as we had a record number of cautions. Michael, we talked at Lowe's. You had mentioned that the speeds that these trucks were carrying was almost breeding cautions because it was too dangerous. Well, we saw the track record beat here by 5 miles an hour. Is that the reason for the record cautions today?
Yeah, I think so. It's that, and it's a combination of that and all the pressure that's being put on these drivers. You know, you got 4 or 5 guys that know they're going to run well. They know they're going to be solid in the points. You got Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch come in. They're Nextel Cup guys. You know they're going to be up front. But then there's about 15 or 20 other of them that are just fighting for every inch they can get on the track. And when you couple record speed with pressure, you get crashes, and that breeds cautions.
And Darrell, I think your brother realizes this, so he had a talk with his team and said, hey, guys, don't beat yourselves. But so David Rudeman comes out and has the best finish of the year. His first top 10 finishes in the top 5, actually, in 5th place. Unfortunately, Robert Huffman makes contact with Steve Park, coming off 2 on the very first lap, and unfortunately didn't work out for him. But maybe Texas, that's going to sink in a little bit, and they'll have a good run.
Well, you got to like the way Rudeman took what Darrell said and laid over at the end of the race. He couldn't block those guys off. He wasn't going to win this race, but he got the best finish he could because he didn't beat himself.
And so our next race will take place in Texas. That is a week from today. Actually, next Friday will be the next race for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Kyle Busch claiming his 2nd career victory in 9 starts, and that was a back-to-back win for Kyle Busch. We started out with the early wrecks. David Starr had set a new track record, and on the pole, the 6th truck was dominant all day until problems in the pits. 11 cautions in Dover. But it was Kyle Busch who was able to hold off veteran Tony Stewart at the end, and that was the 6th different winner at Dover, with Kyle Busch putting his name on that.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support.